Hello Indie Game fan, 2022 was great for pixel art titles, so here are the prettiest squares of the year, beginning with Nightmare the Lunatic, a relatively underrated title from way back in January this year, being a roguelike platformer from a Korean developer. It is set in a world of nightmares, which explains the roguelite structure when you die, where some of the enemy and boss designs in particular are great, where the developer is putting out constant updates and is one to watch. You might not be expecting this next title, but Needy Streamer Overload is a very popular visual novel adventure game which I believe comes out of Japan, where publisher WSS Playground has one of the best indie portfolios out there, where in this, you follow the life of a streamer and her alter ego, OMG Kawaii Angel. It is perhaps emblematic of modern streamer culture and the associated stresses and issues that come along with that, having to deal with internet hate and fandom. As such, it does showcase a slice of the modern internet and is of interest because of that, but of course does hide some darker themes despite the very cutesy look. Of course, I have to give a special mention to Infernax, a classic Vania-style side-scrolling action title which is awesome, where they absolutely nailed the retro look. Post-launch, they have continued to support the game, adding a new character during Halloween, where the core game is a great title not to be missed. Heroes Hour appears on this list for two reasons, the first being that I absolutely love the chibi pixel art sprites, and secondly, that it is a Heroes of Might and Magic-like title, which is a series that I adore. They have switched things up with real-time auto-battler combat, which is different, but it's another excellent game not to be missed.
Package for Ann Flores?
A game which mixes 2D sprites with 3D environments is Anno Mutationum, one that comes to us from a Chinese developer and is set in a cyberpunk city.
Who is she?
Anyway, as long as the girl has awakened, no one can stop our plan.
You play as a highly skilled combat agent on a personal mission in the metropolis, where as with all cyberpunk fiction, conspiracy is afoot where you do have to uncover the secrets of the city as you uncover a sinister plot.
Take it out. Its strength is yours.
We repeat the same disaster.
Most interestingly, this does draw upon SCP lore in some of their enemies, which, combined with the great look and action, makes it a cannot miss.
You sinful, despicable human!
The Gatekeeper Project involved this monstrous girl.
None of your concern.
I see. You Batman.
One of the best adventure games of the year is Noko, a title with amazing backgrounds and environments, although to be honest, the same cannot be said for the character portraits, which is a shame. You're exploring a fictionalized version of Norco, Louisiana, now having been turned into the industrial swamplands as you deal with the aftermath of your mother's death and the activities that she was caught up in, being a good game for fans of the genre. I was looking forward to Coromon for many years, having followed it as early as 2018 if I'm not mistaken, where its release date got pushed from one year to the next, but finally released in 2022, where I'm happy to report that it does not disappoint. It is the what-if scenario if Pokemon chose to continue on with pixel art instead of shifting into 3D models, where it's evident that the developers are Pokemon fans themselves but have tweaked it enough to make it their own.
The world is a scary place.
What are you doing, Philip?
These days, scarier than ever.
We're dealing with something serious here. I think you're the perfect asset to help us come to a conclusion.
Another highly anticipated pixel art title was Chinatown Detective Agency, a cyberpunk crime thriller that takes inspiration from Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, where our ex-cop turned private detective protagonist has to solve the various dangerous cases that come across her desk.
For the both of us.
Know anything about that, Miss Nama?
After all the hopes and dreams of utopia, after all the promises of kings and revolutionaries, here we are, at downfall's doorstep.
Critically, this is set in a cyberpunk interpretation of my home country of Singapore, although our protagonist does visit other countries as well, where it's a delight to see how these cityscapes have changed as well, but is perhaps for the more niche adventure game audience.
License to operate, a dingy little office in Chinatown, and a client with a problem that needs taking care of.
Welcome to my little kingdom.
Well, you can get by just fine.
So, what do you think?
I heard we were about to meet.
One of the most gorgeous pixel art titles of the year is Astro Ascent, a roguelike platformer where attempting to escape an astral prison with the 12 zodiac signs standing in your way.
Got something for ya.
Glad to see you again.
It looks absolutely amazing, especially in the backgrounds and boss designs, but the elemental magic and action is pretty great as well.
You know, I only battle worthy opponents. So if you want to fight me, remember one thing. Don't disappoint me.
This has been chugging along in early access with one major update since launch in April, where it comes to us from developer Hibernian Workshop, who also made the 2D Souls-like Dark Devotion, so you can see their pixel art shown off there as well.
I am the lightning.
Witness the power of the stars. I cannot wait for our duel.
I don't know why the trailer for Ember Knights got taken off its Steam store page, so I had to go to YouTube to find it, but this is an amazing looking pixel art roguelite with co-op support. You play as this flame-headed character who has to fight against the forces of a mad sorcerer, and while the character design is relatively nondescript, the enemies and environments do look amazing. I'm so happy that we got a number of Heroes of Might and Magic-like games in 2022, but a key example here would be Songs of Conquest, one that is very true to its inspiration and even has some awesome pixel art. Everything in this game looks great, especially the character models and environments, but the turn-based strategy and resource management part is good as well, so I cannot wait for the 1.0 release. Shoot 'em up fans, this one's for you. Genius is a horizontal shooter where taking on massive mechanical bosses, where it remains true to the core of the genre in terms of action. The main gimmick here is the ability to absorb enemy bullets to charge your weapons and then to counterattack, where it comes to us from Team Ladybug, who you might know from games like Touhou Lunar Nights and Record of Ludor's War, Delete and Wonder Labyrinth, so it's interesting to see them spread their wings when it comes to the type of games that they make. An underrated title is Dwarf, an action tower defense game where you play as a dwarf, fending off the invading forces of the Witch Queen using a variety of towers in order to do so. It is certainly less involved than pure tower defense games, but if you love building towers and watching them destroy your enemies, this is a game to get. The Metroidvania title, Soldiers, has to be mentioned as well, since this is honestly one of the most gorgeous pixel art titles of the year. I especially love the backgrounds and cityscapes, where the high-bit pixel art really is a treat for the eyes. Character models are great as well, as are the boss designs, where there were all sorts of complaints with regards to balancing during the initial launch, but seems to have largely been smoothed over in subsequent patches. A not-so-indie title that I have to mention anyway is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, a beat-em-up title that harkens back to the classics, but with modern high-bit pixel art that looks so good. It comes to us from indie developer Tribute Games, who are working with a huge IP, so I cannot consider this to be indie, but their love and passion for the Turtles and the beat-em-up genre really shines through and is a great game. Add one more shoot-em-up title to the pile with Z-Warp, coming to us from Panda Indie Studio, who also made the excellent Project Starship X, where this is a vertical shoot-em-up title that really does remind me of arcade classics and looks fantastic. A good-looking 2D Souls-like title is The Tarnishing of Juxtia, one that has all the hallmarks of the genre, with the deliberate stamina-based combat, as well as monstrous bosses in a grimdark world. Gameplay is not too bad, with some minor complaints of accuracy, but challenging bosses and awesome designs makes this a must-play. I I really like the look of Cursed to Golf, since this is a pixel art roguelite golf game which is pretty unique, all things considered. If traditional golf games are boring to you, adding in power-ups, environmental hazards and boss fights should spice things up, where if you're under par, it may just cost you your life, but don't worry, you can try and try again. Of the Bullet Heaven titles released this year, I think that Neophyte looks the best, having a wonderfully crisp pixel art look that really helps with the action. All things considered, I do think that this is one of the more underrated games in this subgenre, so check it out if you have not. I have to give a special mention to Cranial Origins as well, a full game that is the prequel to the in-development Cranial Reanimated, where the 8-bit inspired look shines here as compared to the more 16-bit inspired look of the other game. The various filters that you can use to customize the look is awesome, and it's good action as well. Of course, Freedom Planet 2 has to get a mention, since it is an awesome looking pixel art title, although that is mixed in with more 3D elements, where it does look like it belongs on the Sega Genesis.
I'm a super dog! Freeze!
The fast-paced action platforming is great, but the first title was more or less a Sonic game in all but name, so if you gotta go fast, do pick this up.
I always wanted to be your loyal servant. But I was blinded by faith. I believed that you would protect me. But you took everything from me. So take my faith back.
I'm always amazed when developers use pixel art to depict gory and bloody scenarios, where There Is No Light is the perfect example of this, a grimdark title that is set in an underground post-apocalyptic society.
I reject this place!
The enemies, boss designs and attack animations are a highlight, somehow being able to both be grim and beautiful at the same time.
I reject your God!
Pixel art and cozy games do go hand in hand. Think of Stardew Valley for example, where another such example is Potion Permit, one where you play as a local chemist or doctor, having to craft a variety of medical solutions to cure your patients. I love the look of this game, especially the pet dog by your side, and while the colour palette is a little bit more muted than I would have liked, it is still a gorgeous game not to be missed, even more so if you are a cozy game fan. Another title which blends art styles is Proteus, mixing 2D pixel art sprites as well as 3D geometry, which sure looks to be inspired by the old school classics like Doom but modernizes it in a very nice way. To me, the main highlight here is the single player campaign, although there is multiplayer support as well, although I don't think you'll be likely to find matches there, so it's a good thing that the gunplay is awesome, making it one of the best modern indie first-person shooters. Of course, I have to mention Shovel Knight Dig, since the Blue Borrower is one of indie gaming's best characters, where this new entry is a roguelite variant that is pretty good with some clean pixel art as well. The concerns here are that it was also designed with mobile in mind through developer Nitrome, so perhaps there were some technical limitations, but it looks good overall. A title with some very impressive animations is Moonscars, a grimdark 2D Souls-like with horrendous enemies and bosses. The combat animations and the weight of the weapons that you wield feels awesome, showing even how with a rather limited colour palette, magic can still be made with pixel art. I did preview Lakeside when looking forward to the pixel art games of 2022, where this is a chill city builder title that has you managing a quiet town by the lake. Of course, additional structures and some gorgeous monuments and wonders can be constructed, being a great example of excellent pixel art when it comes to buildings and structures in games. Despot's game Dystopian Battle Simulator comes to us from developer Confa Games, where this game has a very similar look and colour palette to their earlier title Despotism 3K. However, what is amazing is the scale of everything here, where, similar to Hero's Hour covered earlier in this video, it is pretty amazing to see armies scrambling about on screen, attempting to kill each other, where some of the enemy designs are awesome as well. If you love
Farm Simulation RPG,
Kinseed will be one to pick up, a title which launched out of early access after about 4 to 5 years, where this is one of the best farming sims in recent memory. The fairy tale setting is neat, as is the ability to play multiple generations of characters within a single family, which is of course helped with the gorgeous pixel art. I like the detail in the characters, and the overall look, especially when zoomed out, is impressive as well. I've been keeping a close eye on Chained Echoes ever since it was announced, since even in the very early Kickstarter stage, they did already showcase some wonderful pixel art, and while it did undergo a visual change during development, the final product is beautiful as well. It is a classically designed JRPG but modernized in quite a nice way, where the turn-based combat is snappy and has an interesting mix of fantasy monsters and mech suits that you can pilot. It has that classic backdrop of warring kingdoms and political intrigue, with a great central narrative as well. If you grew up with the classics like Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy, this is a must get. Another awesome year of pixel art, where 2023 looks fantastic as well, so watch this video to get a preview of what's coming up.